Have you ever found yourself just lost in a tangle of cables, trying to get multiple screens, multiple video sources all playing nice?
Oh, yeah,
Whether it's like your home setup or a business or maybe those big public displays, it can feel like a real puzzle sometimes.
definitely.
But what if there was a way to sort of untangle all that, get real control over where your video actually goes?
That's the dream. Right.
Well, let's dive into a solution that aims to do just that. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a pretty powerful piece of kit, the WolfPack 4K 30Hz 8x9 HDMI Matrix Switcher.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're using its product page as our guide, but we're not just going to read off the specs.
Right.
Our mission here is to really uncover what makes this thing tick, its capabilities, where you might actually use it, and the real value this kind of tech offers if you need to manage how visual information flows. So let's start at the beginning. What is an 8x9 HDMI matrix switcher fundamentally?
Well, basically, it's a central hub for your high-definition audio and video. Think of it taking, say, 8 different HDMI sources, your console, Blu-ray, whatever,
Yeah.
and letting you send any of those signals to any of 9 different displays.
Oh, okay. So that's the matrix part.
Exactly. The flexibility is key. You can send one source to all screens, different sources to different screens, any combination you need, total control.
And they make a point of saying it's a true 8x9 switcher, not just an 8x8 plus 1.
That's right. It suggests it's designed specifically for that configuration from the ground up. And that 9th output, interestingly, they mentioned it can work with a sound bar if it has an HDMI input.
Oh, that's a neat touch.
Yeah, adds a bit more flexibility for audio setups. What's really clever about these devices is how precisely they handle compatibility. This one's built for 4K at 30 frames per second.
Okay, 4K 30 hertz.
Right. And it uses something called 4.2.0 chroma subsampling. It's basically a smart way to send high-res video efficiently without needing, enormous bandwidth.
Makes sense.
And crucially, it's HDMI 1.4 compliant and supports HDCP 1.4.
HTC, that's the copy protection,
Yep.
right?
Exactly. It's what lets your devices talk to each other properly to show protected stuff like movies. Without that handshake, you just get a blank screen.
Right. Nightmare.
So the advice, which makes sense, is your sources should ideally match these standards. Or you might need adapters to make sure everything plays nice.
Gotcha. And signal quality is obviously huge here. How does it handle that?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. It's not just a passive pass-through.
Okay.
It actively processes the signal. You could almost think of it like cleaning it up. It retimes it, compensates levels, fixes phase errors, cuts out data jitter.
Wow.
The idea is you get a regenerated, basically perfect HDMI signal out the other side.
So it's kind of boosting and cleaning the signal.
Precisely, which is really important for maintaining quality, especially if you're running longer cables or it's, a critical setup.
And that extends to color and audio, too.
Absolutely. It supports deep color, so you get those really rich, nuanced visuals. And for audio, it handles a whole range, from standard surround sound up to the high-end formats like Dolby True HD and DTS HD Master Audio.
So no compromises on sound either.
And at all. Your audio quality should be top-notch. And all that signal processing stuff we talked about, it feeds into another really practical benefit.
Which is?
How fast and smooth the switching is. They claim a response time around 2 seconds for changing inputs.
2 seconds. Okay.
And importantly, they say it switches without flashing. No black screen interrupting the view.
That's huge in some places, like a sports bar or presentation.
Exactly. You can't have that disruption. And that smoothness often boils down to how well the device manages something called EDID.
Ah, yes. EDID, Extended
Yeah.
Display Identification Data.
Yeah.
Let's unpack that a bit. Why is that so important?
Well, it can be a real headache saver, honestly. Imagine you've got a mix of displays connected,
Oh.
right? Some old, some new, different capabilities.
Mhm.
Without good EDID management, your source device, like your laptop or Blu-ray player, often just defaults to the lowest common denominator, maybe 720p stereo sound, just to make sure something shows up on all screens.
Even if your fancy 4K TV could handle much more.
Exactly. So your expensive display isn't being used to its full potential.
So how does this matrix help?
It has a clever EDID learning function.
Yeah.
You can essentially tell the matrix, okay, look at all the connected displays, find the lowest capable one, and learn its EDID.
Okay.
Then it presents that learn EDID back to the source device. So the source thinks it's connected to a display that matches that profile.
Ah, so it tricks the source into outputting something everything can handle, but hopefully the best commonly denominator.
Precisely. It ensures all displays work properly, ideally at their best shared resolution. And crucially, it stops the source from constantly trying to dynamically adjust the resolution, which can cause flicker or instability.
That sounds much more user-friendly.
Definitely increases usability. And this specific model offers quite a bit of EDID management flexibility with different EDIDs you can select, both based on outputs and internal presets.
So lots of ways to fine-tune it.
Yeah, 23 options, including 9 based on the outputs and 15 internal ones. And if we connect this idea of fine-tuning to the bigger picture system integration, the control options here are really extensive.
Right. How do you actually control the thing?
You've got options, lots of them. There are physical buttons right on the front panel.
Okay, simple enough.
Comes with an IR remote control too, standard stuff.
Yep.
But then you get into the more pro options, RS-232 serial control.
For direct command?
Right. TCP/IP control over Ethernet using your network, and even dedicated apps for Android and iPad.
Apps too. Okay, that's convenient.
And for the really integrated setups, there are optional drivers for major control systems. Crestron, Elin, Control4 are mentioned.
So it slots into those big automation systems.
Exactly. It's designed to be flexible, whether it's a simple setup or part of a complex, professionally installed system. Very little it can't integrate with.
That's a pretty comprehensive list. For someone building, say, a really custom system, is there one method that offers the most power or flexibility?
Yeah, for the really complex stuff, the RS-232 control is probably where the deepest customization lies.
Okay.
You've got features like 8 configuration scene saving, so you can preset specific input-output routings like presentation mode or movie night and recall them instantly.
Useful. Like macros.
Exactly. Plus, you can rename the inputs and outputs in the system, which makes managing it much clearer, especially if you have lots of similar sources or displays.
A cool point. Easy to forget what's plugged into HDMI 7 otherwise.
Totally. And for the AV pros, the system integrators, they provide a simple RS-232 script. This lets them write custom drivers for pretty much any third-party control system out there.
So beyond just Crestron and Control4?
Oh yeah. They list examples like AMX, RTI, Savant. Basically, if it talks RS-232, you can likely control this matrix with it using that script.
Can you give an example of what that command looks like?
Sure. They give one. Say you want input 8 to go to outputs 1, 2, and 5 simultaneously. The command would be 8 by 1 and 2 and 5.
With a period at the end.
Yep, that period is crucial. And the matrix talks back. It sends, okay, if the command worked, or ERR if something was wrong.
That feedback must be invaluable for debugging.
Absolutely. Saves a lot of guesswork when setting up complex automation.
So it's definitely built with integrators in mind, which ties into some interesting financial advice they offer end users, right?
Yes, that's a pretty candid point they make, especially for larger systems.
What's the gist?
They suggest you could potentially save quite a bit of money, thousands, they say, by buying the hardware, the matrix itself, directly from them.
Okay.
And then hiring a separate third-party integrator or reseller just to handle the specific software programming and installation for your control system, like Control4 or Crestron.
So decouple the hardware purchase from the custom programming.
Exactly. But, and this is a big but, there's a crucial caveat.
Which is?
Well, the manufacturer guarantees that their RS-232 script will work to control the matrix directly. They are not certified by those third-party control companies like Crestron or Control4, and they explicitly state they don't verify, troubleshoot, or support the code written by that third-party installer.
Okay, so the warranty is on their hardware and their basic RS-232 commands working, not on the complex custom code someone else writes for a specific system.
Precisely. They're saying, our box works, the commands work, but the fancy integration code is between you and your installer.
That's a really important distinction for anyone planning a big project.
Good
to know up front. All right, let's talk about the physical side, the box itself. How practical is it to install?
It seems designed for straightforward integration into standard setups.
How so?
Well, first off, it's a compact 1U size.
Meaning it takes up 1 unit of vertical space in a standard equipment rack.
Exactly. And it comes with the 19-inch rack mount ears included, so it's ready to slot right in.
Convenient.
A really nice feature they highlight is that it has no fan. It's completely silent operation.
Oh, that's a big plus. Fan noise can be really annoying, especially in quieter environments like a home theater or conference room.
Definitely. So you have more flexibility about where you can place it without worrying about noise.
What about cable lengths? HDMI can be fussy over distance.
They give some guidelines, up to 15 feet for the input HDMI cables and up to 50 feet for the output cables.
50 feet on the output, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, but they specify using AW24-gauge HDMI 1.4 standard cable for that longer output run.
AWG24.
Yeah.
That's a thicker gauge wire, right? Helps maintain signal integrity.
Correct. Thicker copper, less signal loss over distance. So you need the right quality cable for those longer runs.
Makes sense. And just for context, the price point, availability.
The source page lists it at $700 and says, in stock.
Okay, $700. Good to have a ballpark.
And, what's really striking when you look at where this could be used, it's incredibly versatile.
Right, not just for one specific niche.
Not at all. The list of applications is really broad. Think sports bars, needing to show different games on dozens of screens.
Yeah, perfect example.
Restaurants, casinos, gyms, shopping malls, places of worship. Even data centers managing multiple server outputs.
Gaming rooms, too.
Gaming rooms, conference rooms, schools, obviously home theaters for the serious enthusiast. The list just keeps going. Anywhere you need to flexibly route multiple HDMI sources to multiple screens.
It covers a lot of ground. What about video walls? Can it do that?
Good question. There's an important nuance there. The documentation says it can work with video walls, but it doesn't do the video wall processing itself.
Meaning?
Meaning it can send the necessary RS-232 commands to the actual displays that have built-in video wall or splicing capabilities, telling them how to arrange the picture. But the matrix itself isn't like splitting the image across screens.
Okay, so it acts as the control signal source for a video wall setup, rather than being the video wall processor itself.
Exactly. It enables that function by controlling compatible displays, but doesn't perform the image splitting internally. Still very useful in that context, though.
So, pulling this all together, what does this really mean for you, our listener?
Well, I think this WolfPack 8x9 Matrix Switcher represents a really capable tool for simplifying what can be a pretty complex AV distribution setup.
Yeah, it tackles that tangled cable problem we started with.
Right. Its main value is simplifying how you get audio and video from multiple sources to multiple destinations while keeping the quality high and giving you loads control options.
So whether it's a, fairly advanced home theater or a large commercial space, it seems like a robust solution.
Definitely aims for that seamless, dynamic visual experience. And this kind of technology, it really prompts a bigger question for you to think about. Given this level of granular control, sending any input to any output, saving scenes, custom programming, how could this enable completely new ways of communicating visually?
Beyond just showing the same thing on multiple screens, you mean?
Exactly. Think about interactive environments, maybe public art installations that react dynamically based on data feeds routed through the matrix, or collaborative workspaces where the displays instantly reconfigure based on who's presenting or what task they're doing.
So using the matrix not just for distribution, but as an engine for truly adaptive visual experiences.
Precisely. When you have this kind of command over information flow, how could it reshape how we interact with visual media in shared spaces? It puts that power in your hands, something to mull over.